நேற்று கிளாஸ்ல வந்து நம்ம கஸ்டம் டியூட்டி அப்படின்னா என்ன அப்படின்றத பார்த்தோம். ஓகே, ஸோ what is a custom duty is, what is the purpose of having the customs act. Okay, அப்புறம் உங்களோட custom duty எப்படி evaluation ஆச்சு. So all these concepts we have seen in the yesterday's lecture. Okay, so in today's lecture we will be learning about some, and also we have seen some definitions. Our definitions like what is the export duty, okay, and what is mean by dutiable goods, okay, and what is mean by goods according to your excise customs act. So all this we have seen in yesterday's lecture. In today's lecture also we will see some definitions of your Customs Act, and also we will learn about what is the power of a customs officer or what is his functions and how these customs officers will be appointed. Okay, so all this we will learn it in our today's lecture. Okay, and also we will learn about what is the scope of this Customs Act. Okay, so these concepts we will see it in today's lecture. So first we will be learning about the scope of the Customs Act. Okay. Okay. So customs acts, though it was been there before your independence, but actual Indian Customs Act was being passed in the year 1962. Okay, it was proposed in your parliament in 13 December 1962, and it came into force from February 1st, 1963. From that period only, your Customs Act, whatever we are following today, that was being amended. Okay, so before that, we are following the British rule, or we are following the different kings as per them. What is the rate of customs, or what is the rate of tax which they want to charge for the goods which is sent outside the country. So they are having their own tax rates. Okay, but the actual regulations or actual procedures was came only after 1962. Okay, and basically this particular tax is considered as a revenue creation only. So that's the reason it is considered as a revenue act, because whenever you are giving some goods to anybody or receiving goods from anybody, for that if you charge any tax, so it is treated that only. The custom tax is basically treating of giving the goods or getting the goods. For that, if you put any tax, that is only termed as a custom tax. Okay, so that's the reason it is termed as a exports and import. Okay, any goods which you have received from outside the country, or giving the goods outside the country, if any tax levied on that only, it's a custom duty. Okay, so that's the reason it is looked like a revenue act. Okay, and as I told you in the previous lecture itself, this particular act is having 17 chapters and you are having 161 sections. And also we have seen what are the sections and which under it, what are the things will be given. So basically your 1 and 2, that is section 1 and 2, talks about your short title of the law, and also what is the main purpose of that particular act. Also we have this definition will come under your section 2. Okay, and section 3 talks about the powers and functions of your officer. So that we will see it in today's lecture. Okay, and what are the rules under the Customs Act was being uh, taken, was being there also is given. Okay, so under your customs law itself, we have different rules which is covering under the Customs Act is Custom Valuation Rules 1988. Custom Valuation Rules is where how you have to value the goods. Okay, on what basis or how the valuation of the goods has to be taken place. So that will be treated in the Customs Valuation Rules 1988. And what is the duty drawback rules? Okay, what is the procedure for or drawback for re-importing or re-exporting of the import goods? Okay, and then baggage rules 1988. So these are the additional acts which is being part of your customs laws. Okay, and there are also some regulations which is part of your customs act, like bill of lading forms regulation, that is how to regulate your bill of lading or bill of entry, how we will be doing it. So all these regulations are passed along with your customs act. Okay, so and there are different notifications which is a part of your customs act also. So the main section of your customs notification will be determining of the goods. Okay, what has to be notified in the goods is a main part of your customs act, and what are the goods which is prohibited for export and import, and what which are the goods should be coming under some special category, which goods will be fully exempted. So these are the notification which you will be getting it from the customs authorities from every now and then under your finance bill. So whenever there is a finance bill is passed in the parliament, under the finance bill, you will be getting these notifications. Okay, so notifications like which are the goods are fully exempted from the duty, which are the goods are partially exempted from the duty, which are the goods are prohibited for export, which are the goods are prohibited for export imports, and which good should be having certain specifications, or what is the specified goods which you can export from other countries. So all these notifications will be available in every year in your finance bill. So these are the notifications you will be getting it from under your finance bills. Okay, so these are the scope of your customs act, customs law or customs act. Okay, so scope of first customs act basically covers about the rules and regulations and the notifications which is available in the customs law. Okay, so I'm just giving a short summary of this and then we'll go for the next question. Okay, the scope of customs law basically talks about when it has been established. Okay, what are the rules which is available, or which is what are the rules which is part of the customs law we have discussed. Okay, then we have discussed about the notifications. So every year when the finance bill is passed, you will be getting some notification related to your customs laws regarding to your which goods has to be sent outside the country, or which goods can be received from outside the country, or what is the norm in getting the goods. So all these notifications you will be getting under the customs law. So these are the scope of your customs law. Okay, then we will see some definitions of your customs law before going into the office of customs. Okay, so yesterday what are the terms we have learned? Any idea? Yesterday terms? Yes. It was available in your screen. If your screen is visible, you can see and say. Okay, so whatever the definitions which we have seen in the yesterday's lecture, I have listed here. Dutiable goods, custom area, custom station, duty, entry, and goods. Okay, along with these definitions, we will also see some more definition in today's lecture. Okay, so in today's lecture, we will be learning about your adjudication authority. Adjudicating authority. Okay, so who is an adjudicating authority? So adjudicating authority is a person, okay, or any competing person, okay, who will be giving you, or who will be passing the order related to your customs laws. Okay, it means who will be giving the rules and regulations for your customs act will be considered as a adjudicating authority. Okay, so this adjudicating authority cannot be a board or cannot be a collector. Okay, so the person who is more knowledgeable related to the customs act will be part of this adjudicating authority. Okay, so if you are in the part of adjudicating authority, you have the powers to uh, take a decisions related to the customs act. Okay, so this is all about the adjudicating authority. Okay, next we will learn about your what is mean by entry we have seen. What is mean by examination? So next definition under your Customs Act is examination. Okay, so examination is nothing but it is basically related to the goods. Okay, this includes the measurement and weightage thereof. That means measurement and weightage is what is the weight or what is the amount you can send it to other country or receive from other country will be mentioned in the examination. Okay, so it is purely related to the goods. Okay, suppose for example everybody will say that if you want to get gold from other countries, you can have so and so weights and you can carry. Okay, other than that, if it is not countable, means it is considered as a smuggled goods. So that is called as examination. So examination is nothing but what is the specific limit of goods which you can carry from other country. Okay, which you can export to the other country. So that is called as examination. Okay, next one is I hope you know that what is mean by export. What is an export? What is mean by export? Yes. So any goods which is sent outside India will be considered as an export under the Customs Act, and it comes under Section 2 of subsection 18. Okay. Next one is export goods. Export goods, the meaning is also the same. Any goods which is sent to outside the country, that is outside India. You can't say outside the country, you have to mention outside India. Any goods if it's sent, that is called as export goods. Okay. It is also under the Section 2, subsection 19. Okay. Next. Exporter. Who is an exporter?
Ma'am, the person who exports the goods in representing India, ma'am,
Yes.
or the country.
Yes. Yes, very good, very nice. So the export is also in terms of goods only we will be seeing. As he said very clearly that if you are sending any goods, that is owner of the goods who sends the goods to other country from India will be considered as a exporter under your section 2 subsection 20. Okay. Next, we will be okay. So with this four definition, I will stop for five definitions. I'll stop for 2 days for the definition. Then we will see remaining definition in the next lecture. Now we will see the next question, that is the officer of the customs and what is the appointment and what is the functions of the powers, functions and powers of the customs that we will see now. Okay, so basically different structure of the class of customs officer are, you will be having a chief commissioner of customs, commissioner of customs, then commissioner of customs in appeal, joint commissioner you will be having, deputy commissioner you will be having, assistant commissioner you will be having. After assistant commissioner you will be having different class of people who will be appointing for any specific purpose of work or any other purpose. If there is requirement is needed, then these class of officers will be appointed. Okay, by informing in the official gazetted, these appointments will be filled. So these are the structure or this is a framework of your customs office. Okay, and how these custom officers will be appointed is, so this custom officers will be appointed by your central government. Okay, by making a proper notification in the official gazette, they will make it and they will appoint these customs officer. Okay, and the central government is only having a power to appoint your authorized board members, that is who are will be the part of the board of custom office, will be appointed by your central government only, and also your who is the commissioner of your customs, your deputy commissioner and the assistant commissioner. Okay, so these rank of people will be appointed purely only by your central government. Okay, so who are the people? Your authorized board people, okay, your commissioner of customs, deputy commissioner, your assistant commissioner. Okay, so these category of people are eligible to appoint by your central government. Okay, next, what is the function of this customs officer? Okay, the first and foremost function of the customs officer is they have to collect the customs duty on, they have to collect the custom duty properly. That means whether it is an import duty or whether it is an export duty. So those duties has to be collected as per the norms which is given by the government. Okay, that is the first and foremost duty of the customs officer. So if the government says that for X and Y commodity they have to pay 10%, then the custom officer duty is to collect that particular revenue to the government. So that is the first and foremost function of a custom officer. Okay, so they should make sure that they have collected the duty amount from the exporter or importer. So that is the first and foremost function. Next one is enforcement of various provisions. Enforcement means like whatever the changes which you are making, okay, whether that has been followed or whether it has been um, um, implemented, so that has to be taken by the customs officer. Okay, whether it is related to the exporting of any goods to other countries or any postal delivery of goods to other countries or any arrival of goods from any other countries. Okay, so according to your customs acts, goods means, it doesn't mean that only your movable goods. It can be your vessel, it can be your check which is issued, or it can be your negotiable instrument which you have issued. Okay, so every now and then your government can changes your issue of negotiable instrument. Okay, so whether those changes has been followed by the importer or exporter, so that has to be checked by the customs officers. That is known as enforcement of various provisions. Okay, provisions means any rules, whether it is followed properly or not. So that check will be done by the customs officer. Okay, next one is discharging of various agencies function. Okay, so discharging of various agencies functions, and also they will be helpful in finding out what are the prohibited goods or restricted goods which is import from the other countries, so that they have to find it out. So that is the another important function. Okay, whether the goods which is exported or goods which is imported, or right amount of goods has been received, or whether any illegal goods has been received. So all this notification has to be taken care by the customs officer. Next one is the customs officer next important duty is to prevent the smuggling. Smuggling means unaccounted goods or any illegal goods which is received in the country has to be protected by the customs officer. So the smuggling goods means it is not only the harmful goods which is received, it is also the prohibited goods, you can say. So prohibited goods will also comes under your smuggling goods only. Okay, whichever whichever it is not accountable. Okay, any goods which is not accountable will also be considered as a smuggling goods only. Okay, so that has to be prevented by the customs officer. Next one is international passenger processing. International passenger processing is you also regulate your travel. You also regulate your international travel transport. That is tourism and transport. So that also be should be regulated by the customs officer. Okay, you have to take care of your travelers from different countries, and what is the procedure has to be followed for the travelers in arrival and departure time. So that has to be taken care by the customs officer. So if you went, for example, if you go to an airport, the way of arrival or way of departure, how they give to the passengers, so that also has to be taken care by the customs officer. Nowadays there are different airlines crews are appointed, but still the customs officer will have a overlook of what are the things are going on, how the passengers was being taken to the airport. So all these things will has to be taken care by the customs office. Okay, so these are the basic functions of the customs officer. So the basic functions or the functions of the customs officer is he has to collect the duties properly. Second, he has to check whether the rules or regulations, whatever it is given, is followed properly or not. And he has the authority to discharge any agency's functions, like what is the restricted goods which has been received, or what are the prohibited goods which has been sent or received, has to be checked by him. Then he has to prevent not to get any smuggled goods like unaccountable goods or narcotic goods which has been received, which should not be received, has to be prevented by these customs officer. Next, you have to take care of the procedures which has to be followed by the international passengers. So these are the functions of a customs officer. Okay. Next one we will see about is your power of your customs officer. Okay. So the next question is power of the customs authority. So the power of the customs authority can be classified as two part. Okay, power of a customs authorities. Okay, the powers of the customs authority can be classified as 4 points. First one is appointment of customs ports and airports, etc. Second, approval. Second, approval of landing place. Approval of landing place and specifying the limits of customs area. Then third is the power to declare the place to be a warehouse stations. Then the last power to the customs officer is appointment of boarding station. So these are the powers available to a customs authority. Okay. So first we will see the first power, that is the appointment of the customs port or the airport. Okay. So whenever I want to appoint any customs port or any airport, okay, if I want to make in this particular area I want to create an airport, okay, so in that case what I was supposed to do is we have to mention in the official gazette that this particular area will be covering under the airport. This whole area will be part of the customs authority. You have to give like that, okay, in your official gazette, and then only you can declare that in this particular area you will be having a airport. Okay, so the custom port or the custom airport, okay, wherever it is available, in that particular area only you can unload or you can load your goods to the different places. Okay, so the custom port or the custom airport or the custom port is a place where you can unload or load your goods to the different places from one country to another country. Okay, so that is the first one. Second one is inland container deposits. So inland container deposits is where it's a place where you can deposit your goods for the importing. Okay, and also you can load for your exporting. So containers is where you will be having different blocks of things. In that you can store your goods and you can export to other countries. Next one is land custom station. Land custom station is also a place where you can do the clearing of goods. Okay, clearing of goods is where you can send the goods to the importer's place or exporter's place. So those areas we call it as a land custom station. Next one is routes. Routes are nothing but uh, It's a way or the plan through which the goods will be sent from one country, that is from India to other countries. So what is the way of sending the goods to the other country? We'll call it as a routes. Next, last one is your coastal port. So coastal port is the port which alone has a coastal area where carrying out of your coastal goods, or it is a class of goods which all or any other specific port of India. That is, it's a uh, it's a connectivity of port of different coastal area. We call it as a coastal port. So these coastal ports will be appointed or which will be declared by your customs officer by with the help of your central government, will be announcing in the official gazettes. Okay, so this is a way of appointment of your customs port and the airports. Next one is approval of landing places and specific limit for custom area. Landing places is where your goods will be received or where the goods you can send. So those uh, receivable of goods or sending of the goods will also be approved by the customs authority. So they will give the area where you can send the goods or where you can receive the goods, and they will also specific what is the area limit for your customs authority also. Suppose if you see that for India in sea coastal lines, you will be having 12 narcotics from both the sides of your water. They will be saying that is your area border of your sea will be 12 narcotics, and up to 24 narcotics you will be having a line. Within that limit only, you will be having a Indian coverage. Other, if you cross it, then it will be going to Sri Lanka, or you will be going to other part of the countries. That is, limit will be changing. Okay, so those limits will be specified by your customs authority only. So the customs area is nothing but the coastal area where our Indian limit. Okay, so that limit will also be specified by the customs authority. Okay, so it is between 12 to 24. Maximum is 24 is the limit. Okay, so beyond 12 is the region which is covered under your customs authority. Okay, next one is your power to declare the places to be a Vero station. So, which are the places where you can store the goods for sending the goods to other countries? Okay, so that will be declared by the customs office. Okay, by, yeah, like near the airport. Suppose, for example, yeah, it will be easy. Example, if you see in the near the airport station, before 2 or 3 kilometers itself, you will be having a customs place. Okay, so those areas will be fully covered under the customs areas only. Okay, near the airports. Meenambakam, if you go to the Meenambakam, near certain 2 kilometers or 3 kilometers itself, there will be a customs area where you will be getting a cargoes. Okay, only passengers will be there in Meenambakam. Remaining cargoes and other things will be there before that Tirusulam or something, that nearby area you will be getting. Okay, so uh, like that like that availability of places will be designed by the customs authority. Okay, next one is the last one is appointment of your boarding station. So appointment of boarding station is where you can load your goods in the sense where you can send the goods. Okay, so those areas will also be decided by your customs authority. That is, it will be decided by your commissioner of customs. Okay, he's an authorized person to say where the goods can be loaded to the other places. Loaded in the sense where you can send. Okay, so that can be given by the commissioner of customs by giving the notification in the official gazette. Official gazette in the sense where you will be giving an where you will get approval from the different authorities, and then you will publish it in the newspaper. Then only you can proceed with the sending or receiving the goods in that particular area. Okay, so that is also being done by the customs authorities only. Okay, so these are the powers of the customs authority. So what are the powers? First one is, if you want to appoint any um, place of receiving of goods or sending of the goods. Okay, that is loading of importing goods or loading unloading of exporting goods. So those things can be done by the customs authority. Or if you want to give any routes for sending the goods, so that is also given by the customs authority. And what are the coastal ports available, or which are the coastal ports are connected, so those information can also given by the customs authority. And what are the land custom station which is available, okay, and where the clearing of importing of goods will be done. So those information can also be given by the customs authority. Okay, and where the clearing of importing of or exporting of goods will be done in the landways, so those information can also given by the customs authority. So this all comes under your appointment of custom ports and airports, etc. The specific limit is border. Okay, what is the limit of your Indian border? Okay, so those limits will the coastal area to the sea level. 24 narcotic lines will be considered as a custom limit. So one narcotic lines will be considered as 1.853 kilometers. Okay, so approximately 2 kilometers will be considered as a one narcotic. Suppose if it is 24 narcotics means 48 kilometers. Approximately, I'm talking roughly. I'm talking. It is 48 kilometers. Maybe it is less. It will be less than 48 kilometers. Will be considered as an Indian coastal line. So those limits will be given by the customs authority. Okay, and which are the proper places where you can load or unload your goods. Okay, suppose for example, if any goods wants to send to Chennai. Okay, so in that case, where I have to deliver the where I have to dispatch the goods, whether I can dispatch the goods in Chennai or I can dispatch the goods in Thoothukudi, where I have to, because we have port in these two different places. Okay, so where I was supposed to dispatch the goods, so those things can also be given by the customs authority. Okay, next one is power to declare the place to be a warehouse station. That means warehouse station is, suppose if your port is in Meedambakam, okay, then nearby area can be considered for the cargo station. Okay, so that decision can also be taken by your customs authority. Okay, where the warehouse can be set up. Okay, and what are the things you have to take care for the warehouse, so those things will be taken by the customs authority, but they cannot take it by their own. They have to get the approval from the government, and they will publish the information in the official gazette, and then they can declare that these particular areas will be declared as a warehouse station. Okay, so these warehouse station can also be given for the private people also. So when they give it for the private people, they will give it for the license. They will get the approval from the government and they can keep it. Okay. And the last one is boarding station. Boarding station is where you can upload your goods. Okay. So those powers will be in the hands of Commissioner of Customs, and he will give a proper approval from the government, and he will publish the information in the official gazettes. Okay, so these are the powers of your customs authority. Okay, clear students, power of customs authority. Yes, so next we will start with your different types of your customs duties. Different types of customs duties. Okay, so basically your custom duty is classified into seven. There are seven types of custom duty. Okay, our first duty is basic customs duty. Basic itself, by the name itself says, it is any tax which is levied on the value of the goods. Okay, so those duties will be considered as a basic customs duty. Suppose you are receiving any goods worth rupees 1 lakh. Okay, for that, if you are um, uh, supposed to pay any tax for the value of the goods, so that will be considered as a basic customs duty. Suppose a custom duty rate is 20% and you are receiving the worth of rupees 1 lakh. Okay, so in that case, you have to pay custom duty of 20,000. So that 20,000 will be considered as a basic customs duty. Okay, any basic customs duty. Okay, any basic customs duty. duties, those duties will be considered as a basic customs duty. And this basic custom duty or the basic custom rates will be varying from 5 to 20% according to the commodity. It varies from commodity. If it is essential goods, then it will be less. If it is a luxury goods, then it can go to the 20% also. And in your finance bill or in the finance act of 2007, your basic custom duty has reduced to 10%. Okay, previously they are giving 20%. In the 2007 finance act, they have reduced the custom duty to 10%. Okay, one second. Okay. Till now also we are following the same 10 percentage only. Okay. There is no changes has been made after your 2007 changes. Okay. So now also the basic custom duty is valued on the goods only, and it is 10%. Okay. Next one is your natural. Next type of custom duty is national calamity contingent duty, and it is called as NCCD. Okay, and this particular duty was imposed in the year 2001. Okay, and this particular duty was imposed on the goods like pan masala, okay, and any tobacco, chewing tobacco products, it has been introduced. Okay, and cigarettes, which was introduced. So these are the three commodities where you will be having this national calamity contingency duty was being levied. Okay, so what are the products? One is your pan masala, chewing tobacco, and the last one is cigarette. And when it is issued, it is issued in the year 2001, and the rate of charge for this particular product is 10 to 45%. The rates has been given. Okay, and for this NCCDA, you will be imposed 1%. Okay, so this is the rate of your NCCA rate. Okay, and the 1% rate of NCDA will be given for your motor cars, multi-utility vehicle, two-wheelers, which you are importing from other countries, you will be charged. And also your NCCD for 50 rupees will be charged for 1 ton of your crude oil, okay, from 2003. So these are the charges which will be coming under your NCCD, okay, along with your basics, okay. Your pan masala, chewing gum and cigarette will be charged at the rate of 10 to 45. Okay, 1% of NCCD will be imposed for motor cars, multi-utility vehicle, two-wheelers. Okay, and 50 rupees per ton, okay, will be imposed for your crude oil from the year 2003. Clear? Pan masala and your two-wheelers from 2001. From 2003, we are also charging custom duty for the oil also, oil export also. Clear, students? Sorry, import also. Next. Third one. Third type of duty is special additional duty of custom. Duty of customs. Okay, Okay, so this particular special additional duty of customs was introduced in the year 2nd June 1988. Okay, and the rate which is charged for this particular duty is 4%. Okay, and this particular additional duty was introduced so to set off your local sales tax. Okay, which is paid by the Indian manufacturers. So actually Indian manufacturers are paying some sales tax for to omit. They have omitted that, and they have introduced this special additional duty has been implemented. Okay, and this duty was being leviable up to 8th January 2004. After that, this particular duty was not been there, and this is applicable only to a specific goods which is sent to other countries, but except for gold, silver, and any newspaper or crude oil, this will not be applicable. Okay, so remaining goods, you will be having a special additional duty of customs. Okay, next one is your fourth type of duty, that is additional customs duty. In short form, we can call it as CVD. Okay, why it is called as CVD is the other name for the additional custom duty is counter valuing duty. Okay, so this particular duty is imposed for the accessible goods where you have import to the other countries, but it is an offset of your excise duty. Okay, for any similar goods which is manufacturing within the state. That means if you are exporting any goods, sorry, importing any goods where you are manufacturing in your own country. Okay, if you are doing like that, then this particular duty will be imposed to you. Suppose, for example, already we are producing some X and Y goods. Okay, that X and Y goods is already available in India. Means you are not supposed to import the same goods because you are already those goods are available in plenty. Okay, so if you are exporting those type of goods, means that is considered the, in that case you will be eligible to pay the additional customs duty. Okay, next one is protective duties. Fifth one is protective duties. Actually, by the name itself, you have to understand protective duty is imposed to protect the Indian industry. That means this particular duty is charged to protect the Indian manufacturer. Okay, because same type of goods should not be imported from other countries. Suppose, for example, any handmade goods. Nowadays, handmade goods are cheaper from China. Okay, to and if the Indian sellers, okay, if they feel that the Indian product is more costly compared to the Chinese product, so in that case, whatever goods which is imported from the China by the Indian manufacturer will be charged under the protective tax. Okay, so this is basically protect the Indian manufacturer. And this particular productive duty rates will be varying from time to time according to the usage and the things. So the validity of the duty will also be varied, and it will be notified in the um, notified by the customs authority from time to time. Whenever there is a change in this duty rates, it will be notified by them. Okay. Sixth one is counter veiling duty on subsidized goods. Okay, so counter availing duty on subsidy goods is where if you have known that any goods which you are exporting from other country or importing from other country have received any subsidies. Okay, So for those subsidy goods, you can charge some taxes. Okay, so that we so those taxes we are considering as a countervailing duty. Okay, so this particular countervailing duty was imposed on based on the subsidy amount which you have received according to the section 9 of your customs tariff act. Okay, so subsidy cannot be you cannot find the subsidies, but what is the duty which you can supposed to pay will be notified in the countervailing duty. Okay, so under countervailing duty, the tax will be imposed on the goods which has received the subsidies only, not all the goods. Okay, if you feel that some goods will be concession from X and Y country, means only for those goods these particular tax will be applicable. And this particular tax rate will also be varying from time to time, and the government will be mentioning. Okay, and the last one is anti-dumping duty. Anti-dumping duty on dumped articles. So if you feel that any goods which has been imported more or exported to other countries quite frequently or oftenly. Okay, so in that case, this particular duties will be charged. Okay, why it is charged is, as I told you earlier, we need to protect our Indian customers. Okay, or Indian industry you have to protect. So for that, this anti-dumping duty will be charged. Uh, will be charged. Sometimes what happens, the goods which you are producing domestically will be higher, and the import goods will be lower. Okay, so in that time, what you will do is you will import more goods from the other countries. So when you import more goods from the other countries, so in that case, already you have those goods in your hand, but still you are exporting. So in that case, you will be having too much of goods. So those too much of goods will be considered as a anti-dumping duty. Okay, so anti-dumping duties will be given certain margin limit. So over and above, if you have um, received any goods, okay, so those amount will be considered as the anti-dumping charges. Okay, so there is a margin dumping duty limit was being given. So over and above, if you have given, so those will be charged for the anti-dumping duty. So these are the 7 different types of your customs duty. Okay, I'm just giving a small recap of it. And in the tomorrow's lecture, we will be seeing what is the current rate for these taxes. Today we have seen for basic customs duty, and for national custom duty also I have given, but for special additional duties or additional customs duty I have not given what are the rates, but I said it will keep on changing. But tomorrow's lecture I will give what are the rates for these duties we will discuss in the tomorrow's lecture, and we will once again give a summarize in the tomorrow's lecture. So I'll stop here.